A fiery Wednesday night brought notable wins at both ends of the Western Conference table. Would the heat continue into week 13 in MLS? We've got all 14 fixtures from the weekend, beginning with a cross-conference clash in Ohio.
Just one win in 8 for Columbus.
Tefty Castellanos makes it 2-0.
And back-to-back defeats for LAFC.
LAFC 0, Austin FC 2.
A chance then to return to winning ways.
Losowski scores! LAFC have come from behind to take the lead. Pedro Santos ends the Crew scoring slumber.
After a 4-hour weather delay, this one was watched by Adam Virgo and Phil Blacker.
Nagbe in towards Arriola. Moreira looking for Yeboah. And Grepo just able to shut the door in time on his post.
Moreira on the right-hand side is linking up so well with Yeboah.
See what they can come up with from the corner kick. Dangerous delivery, and the header was powerful, but it was straight at the goalkeeper. Mamadou Fall meeting it, but not extending Elo Rome. Now Yeboah trying to keep his feet and cut it back, and he did. Still the opportunity perhaps for that persistence to be rewarded, but there is just no way through. Miguel Berry's header might change here. This is Yeboah, and there is the opening goal for the Crew. The pressure pays off. Yao Yeboah back in the starting lineup, and an MLS goal scorer for the first time.
I mean, that's going to be a really, really tight call.
He said, Adam, it was close for offside. It's been checked by Drew Fisher. It doesn't appear as if the goal is going to stand after all.
Look in there. Again, it is the right decision. Just a fraction, though.
And they've both managed just the 3 clean sheets all season. Carlos Vela giving chase here, and he will reach it, and it breaks at the feet of Carlos Vela to stick that one away. The main man for LAFC brought on at the break, and he has made the breakthrough. He so often makes the difference.
That's a brilliant change of pace from him, I have to say. Just gets a run there on Williams. He tries that challenge again. Carlos Vela has different ideas. It's a great finish from him. That's been a much more settled second half from LAFC, and they managed to find themselves that goal.
Rodriguez can get the better of Williams. Here it does break for Rodriguez. Oh, and it's a fraction away. Brian Rodriguez can't quite believe he hasn't finished it off.
No, he can't believe it. Carlos Vela can't believe it. All of LAFC can't believe it. They just get it horribly wrong, don't they?
Well, they get it right this time. Cifuentes for 2-0 LAFC. And that might just take the game away from the Crew.
I mean, a player that we talk about time again in Darlington, Nagbe, reliable to pick up the ball in that area, just gets caught on it. Cifuentes takes full advantage, and big goal.
And this is a huge effort from LAFC, having played midweek. The Crew with a full week to prepare for this game at home. Arango takes the shot on. That very nearly did wrap it up. Denied by Elo Rome. Full time at lower.com field. The Columbus Crew 0, LAFC 2.
Fantastic effort from the group. Very proud of the boys. We had a little different tactical approach tonight to deal with weather and a lot of congested schedule, a lot of games at the moment, and it worked.
Austin FC had beaten LAFC in midweek with a statement win that took them to the top of the West at the start of week 13. But the warm glow of that moment faded quickly. Brad Stuver's mistake gifting the lead to Orlando inside 2 minutes. Chankara couldn't miss. A setback for the Texans, who'd lost their last home game to an early goal by the Galaxy. Maxi Urruti's effort suggested it might be one of those days for Josh Wolf's side. And that certainly seemed to be the case midway through the first half, when the league leaders fell further behind.
Beaten away by Stuver, but it's 2-0! Orlando have struck again!
The impetus for Austin's second-half fight-back was rather handed to them by Rodrigo Schlegel. The Orlando defender booked for that infringement just before the hour, and when the resulting free kick struck his arm, the home side had a penalty. Worse still for the Argentine, this handball was deemed deliberate, and 2 quick yellows meant 1 red card. His countrymen exacted further punishment. Sebastian Driussi's spot kick changed the shape of the game. Now Austin had found some momentum, while Orlando lost their heads. Alex Ring's progress halted by a flying challenge and a kick to follow from Cesar Araujo. This time the decision from referee Joseph Dickerson seemed rather more clear-cut, and Orlando were down to 9 men. Amid increasingly chaotic scenes, they hung on, thanks in no small part to a remarkable miss by Diego Facundez. Orlando coach Oscar Pereira was counting the seconds, a tall order in 7 minutes of added time, which was nearly up when Austin snatched a point.
Great service, Moussa Djita!
The first ever meeting of these two teams was one to remember.
Elsewhere in Texas, FC Dallas began the weekend third in the West, defending an unbeaten home record this season as they met Minnesota. But it was the Loons who led 20 minutes in. Manuel Reynoso's free kick wasn't dealt with by Martin Pass, and Robin Lurd reacted quickest to score for the 3rd game running. In the process, he became Minnesota's record regular season scorer in their MLS history. Dallas, though, had left Jesus Ferreira, the league's leading marksman this season, on the bench, and it was his replacement, Franco Jara, who missed a big chance to equalise early in the second half. That looked even more costly when Minnesota made it 2-0 shortly afterwards. A memorable first ever MLS goal for fullback DJ Taylor, but his side well on the way to a first league win in 5. But just 4 minutes later, it was back in the balance again, thanks to a stunning effort from one of Dallas's standout performers.
Now here's Arriola. Arriola with a blast! And they pull one back! 4 straight games with a goal for Paul Arriola!
It set the stage for plenty of late pressure as the home side pushed for parity. They brought on Ferreira to aid their pursuit, but he wasn't able to find the finish here, as Dallas fell to defeat in front of their own fans in Frisco for the first time since October.
After drawing in Minnesota in midweek, the LA Galaxy returned to Dignity Health Sports Park, scene of a 3-1 drubbing by Dallas 8 days before. These guests from Texas were just as impolite. Sebastian Ferreira punishing a fumble by Jonathan Bond. Far from ideal for a Galaxy side so short of goals, just 4 in their previous 6 games. They created opportunities, but fullback Kelvin Leerdam was the wrong man for this occasion. No lack of attacking options on the LA bench, but the starting strike force continued to make chances. Finding a way past Steve Clark was another matter. Efrain Alvarez the next to be denied by the Dynamo keeper. After just 1 win in their previous 6, Houston must have known they were riding their luck. From Adam Lundqvist's cross, Ferreira almost gave Paulo Nagamura's side breathing space to take into half-time. But they had it soon after the restart anyway, thanks to a substitution that looked truly inspired. Tyler Pasha had been on the pitch for about a minute.
Pasha again on his left foot. He's going to have a go. And goal! And he scores! A goal of the week type shot.
Only then did Galaxy send on their big guns, but the game was soon beyond them.
Olfarsson, a couple of step-overs on his left foot. Fires away and he scores!
Houston making their moments count to secure their biggest win of the season.
After Wednesday's win over Montreal, Nashville faced Eastern Conference opposition at Geodis Park for the 2nd time in a week and went ahead inside 25 minutes against Atlanta.
CJ Sapong, goal! 1-0 Nashville!
The game had only just resumed after a near 3-hour weather delay, and it did so in frantic fashion. A mistake by Joe Willis helping Atlanta level just 2 minutes later. The goalkeeper gave the ball straight to Marcelino Moreno, and Thiago Almada scored for the 3rd game running in all competitions. A sequence that started in an extra-time US Open Cup defeat here in Nashville 10 days earlier. Hani Mukhtar had also been on target in that match and against Montreal in midweek, and it was he who restored the home side's lead here when Sapong turned provider. This game's third goal in a 7-minute spell. Mukhtar continuing his fine form since signing a new contract recently. But Nashville's advantage was looking a fragile one in the second half.
Saved by Willis. Quality save there.
The keeper thwarting Alan Franco's header as Willis attempted to make amends for his earlier error. But there was little he could do about an Atlanta equaliser a couple of minutes from time.
From Dwyer, big goal.
Colorado entered the weekend a place behind Nashville but unbeaten at Dick's Sporting Goods Park. The goal that gave them the chance to extend that record owed much to Michael Barrios and Diego Rubio before things got untidy. Jonathan Lewis sparing Yeimar the embarrassment of an own goal. Speaking of embarrassment, this wasn't a great moment for Colorado defender Danny Wilson. Jordan Morris perhaps a little too delicate for Seattle as Lalas Abubakar spared his teammates blushes. And the Ghanaian wasn't finished there, but his clearing header fell to Raul Ruidiaz. And it was left to Rapids keeper William Yarbrough to condemn the Sounders to a 4th away defeat of the season.
Sporting Kansas City had beaten Colorado in midweek, whilst fellow strugglers San Jose also came into this one off the back of a win, but fell behind just before half-time. Johnny Russell applying the finish for his 4th goal of the season, after some fine work from Cameron Duke set up the SKC skipper. The Quakes responded just the other side of the interval though. In fact, the second half was less than a minute old when their own captain Jackson Ewell came up with a crucial contribution, converting Jamiro Montero's pinpoint cross to score for the second game in succession and stretch San Jose's unbeaten MLS sequence to 4 matches now. Miami, winless in 4.
The hardest part of the game is to put the ball in the back of the net.
But 3 unbeaten at home.
Open goal for 2-1. The Tide, it is a turn in South Florida.
The Red Bulls had drawn their last 3.
This is not our standard and we are very, very unhappy.
Yet were undefeated away.
Christian Caceres Jr. to double the New York lead on the road.
Commentary comes from Matt Jackson and Richard Connolly.
3 waiting in the centre, and it will come for Klimala. He didn't make clean contact, but Caceres did, and Callender got smartly down to his right-hand side.
Just a bit worrying, they're not necessarily the most convincing, Miami, as this ball's ricocheting around in the box.
Through to Klimala, there's no initial flag here, Patrick Klimala. Callender made a good save, and then Lowe didn't panic and got it back to him. But they were cut open into Miami once again. Gregory. Duke pulling into a little pocket of space. And now Lassiter. Again coming in, fielding! And Arriola Lassiter gives Inter Miami the lead.
Not necessarily sure going away from goal, should be scoring from there. It's that slight deflection. Takes it past the goalkeeper. Just a little toe end.
Morgan. Room wide for Harper here. Caceres waiting for the pullback. Harper went by himself and forced another good save. And Lowe was sharp to react as the ball came back off Callender. Here's Campana, he's seen off one. And he's got support arriving. And he's laid the pass in beautifully. And it's Mera who makes the save from Lassiter.
How well does Campana do? Physicality again, then a bit of awareness. Gets his head up, perfectly weighted. Oh, I'd be so disappointed here, Lassiter.
Jason Pendant. Barlow was making a run between defenders in the middle, but the cross wasn't quite in his direction. This is Amaya making something of it. Oh. It's a wonderful save by Callender. Amaya really came onto that and hit it purely. And Callender clawed that out of the top corner. Higuain beautifully through, Ochoa, and off the line. Dylan Nealis saves the day for the Red Bulls. Had it gone in, the points would certainly have been into Miami's.
He
takes a touch he doesn't need to take, and that just means the goalkeeper's come another 2 yards, gets a bit of a contact, allows his defenders to get him out of trouble.
Luquinhas got it wide, and it might still come in here for New York. Lowe grew well to head it away. Luquinhas just muscled out by Gregory, and Higuain letting it roll, and away from Sean Nealis, who's on a yellow card. Such experience from Higuain. They've got a man over. This could be it for Ulloa, who delays, and Robert Taylor will win it for Inter Miami. They took their time, but they played the right pass, and Taylor seals the deal. It's victory for the home side. Inter Miami have beaten the New York Red Bulls here by 2-0.
There's a great spirit and togetherness, and there's a great belief that we're heading in the right direction, and we're now beginning to make Drive Pink a little bit of a tough place to go, where it's been easy for teams in the past, and we're playing some great football.
A midweek draw with Miami put the Philadelphia Union back to the top of the East, but they had an unimpressive record at Providence Park, so this was a welcome start.
Overhead kick, and in for Philadelphia!
Daniel Gazdag's goal separated the sides at the break as Philadelphia sought to improve on a haul of 1 point from 5 previous visits to Timbers territory. And early in the second half, they were well set.
Dangerous ball, and a second goal for the Union!
A first of the year for Sergio Santos, and after 5 straight draws, the Union were surely heading for victory, but not without some moments of stress. Santiago Moreno should have scored for Portland, but Sebastian Blanco did, only for the goal to be chalked off. Moreno just offside. The Timbers had scored 9 goals in their previous 2 games, but only found that kind of attacking threat in the last few minutes. They also found Andre Blake in the way. Jimmy Chara denied first for Gio Savarese's side. And in stoppage time, the Union keeper even prevented Bill Tuiloma from giving the Portland faithful something to cheer. No team in the league has conceded fewer than Philadelphia.
Behind Philadelphia in second in the East, New York City FC hosted bottom club the Chicago Fire at Citi Field. The major moment came 20 minutes in. Heber's appeals for a penalty were eventually upheld after a video review. Handball given against Miguel Navarro. The NYCFC striker took responsibility from the spot himself.
Eber lines it up. Eber scores!
The Brazilian was deputising for the suspended Tati Castellanos, but the reigning champions remained a threat without their top scorer. Maxi Morales rattling the crossbar just past the hour. But 1 goal was to prove enough for the home side against Ezra Hendrickson's men, thanks to a club record 5th successive MLS clean sheet. Only briefly threatened when the Fire's Kasper Shabilko had the ball in the net. This one ruled out for an offside in the build-up. And it's now no win in 9 league games for Chicago. NYCFC have dropped just 2 points in their last 7 matches.
Third in the East, CF Montreal were up and running quickly at Stade Saputo. The pace and trickery of Joaquin Torres too much for the RSL defence. And Georgi Mihailovic timed things just perfectly. 42 seconds for 1-0 to the home side. The Canadians were looking to make it 4 straight home victories and bounce back from the midweek defeat at Nashville. And both plans were going well when Romel Kyoto set off and finished superbly. Everything perfect apart from the timing of his run. Celebrations cut short, and the offside decision soon confirmed. Real Salt Lake hadn't won in 5 on the road, but really should have enjoyed half-time all square. A lovely move to find Bobby Wood unmarked with just Sebastian Breza to beat, but he couldn't do it. Frustration for Real Salt Lake coach Pablo Mastroni, but not for long. Early in the second half, Justin Glad met a corner to give the visitors a regulation but really welcome equaliser. And they weren't prepared to settle for that. RSL hadn't beaten Montreal since 2014, but for the second game running, they came from behind to lead.
Cordova into the 18, he takes a shot, and he buries it!
Montreal's best attempt to avoid a second defeat of the week saw Kyoto's free kick scrambled away by Zach McMath. Home record ruined, and back to the drawing board for Wilfred Nancy and his side.
The New England Revolution was still searching for their first away win of the season as the Supporters' Shield holders travelled to FC Cincinnati. Dwan Jones was so close to putting the Revs in front, but the home side's reprieve lasted a matter of seconds before Sébastien Lletget opened the scoring with a stylish scissor kick. Cincinnati were on a run of 4 straight MLS wins coming into the game, though as many victories as they'd managed in the whole of last season, and they were soon back on level terms thanks to their top scorer. The 7th goal of his MLS season, a total soon to be matched by another form forward at the other end, as Adam Buxa brilliantly restored the Revs lead just before half-time.
A spectacular goal as Buxa found it on his feet and snuck it past Roman Celentano. New England back on top.
Buxa has now scored in his last 7 games in all competitions, 9 goals across that spell, including 2 against Cincinnati in a 5-1 Open Cup win earlier in the month. It was proving much closer this time, though. Alvaro Barreal has 3 goals in the Cup this season, but this was his first in MLS since July of last year, as FCC battled back from behind again. The Revs responded, and left-back Jones was unlucky to strike a post for the 2nd time in the game, as both sides went in search of a winner. The contest was inside the last couple of minutes of the 90, when its decisive moment arrived.
By breaks free. Drops it back, McNamara buries it in the back of the net.
A spectacular way for Tommy McNamara to secure the Revs that elusive first road win of the year.
At Audi Field, visitors Toronto had a 5-match losing streak to snap. This wasn't a great start.
Estrada looking for Flores, it's in the net! Oh, it's in the net! There it is!
Edison Flores on the spot just 7 minutes in for DC United, who were well beaten here by NYCFC just 3 days before. Some tired-looking defending rather made a gift of Toronto's equaliser. Ayo Akinola's first goal of the season was still an emphatic finish. Other parts of the home side's game were much sharper. 10 minutes into the second half, Julian Gressel's vision and the persistence of Taxi Funtas left Michael Estrada with a tap-in to go with his earlier assist. But Toronto were in no mood to accept yet another defeat. They will welcome Italian forward Lorenzo Insigne to their ranks next month, and his addition might help them finish the kind of opportunity they created just moments after falling behind. DC's backline stood firm on that occasion, but a team that's been conceding too many goals couldn't hold on.
Perusa, the save of the foul is a goal for Osorio, and Toronto has tied it.
The losing habit broken thanks to Jonathan Osorio, a welcome boost for a Toronto team in transition.
To our final game, where another Canadian club were on their travels, Vancouver the visitors to Charlotte. And after Christian Fuchs was caught in possession, the Whitecaps went ahead thanks to Tosin Ricketts scoring just 2 minutes into his first start of the season. But it was a lead they didn't hold for long.
Shinshinki, and it squeezes in! An immediate response from Charlotte FC!
Vancouver were missing all 3 of their senior goalkeepers through either illness or injury, so had to draft in 17-year-old academy prospect Max Anker for a debut. His save from Kerwin Vargas kept his team on terms. But Charlotte were chasing a 5th home win in their last 6 at Bank of America Stadium, and facing a side without an away point all season. So it finally followed the form book when the expansion team found their winner 5 minutes from time. Daniel Rios in the right place to profit. The Mexican's first MLS goal for Charlotte proved to be the match winner.
That win lifts Charlotte up 2 places and into the playoff positions in the East at the expense of Atlanta. The front 2 remain where they were, but Orlando move into 3rd ahead of Montreal.
In the West, LAFC reclaim top spot from Austin, and RSL leapfrog the LA Galaxy into 4th. The Galaxy's conquerors Houston jump above the playoff line, pushing Colorado down to 8th.
We leave you this week with 3 of the best, all courtesy of the Revs.
Sébastien Lletget finds the goal as the Revs strike first in Cincinnati. Turning it across, and a spectacular goal. McNamara buries it in the back of the net.
copyrighted broadcast of Major League Soccer may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Major League Soccer.